Hi, performers and achievers. Welcome to Performers and Achievers Daily with me, Raj Gavurla. In today's episode, I am discussing the word compete. That's a common word. And what I like to do is put the word successfully compete in front of it. So why do I do that? Because a lot of people correlate compete with the outcome, the result. Did you win? Were the results better? Were the outcomes better? And therefore, they don't think and feel they're successful. However, my point of view, and if you approach it this way, maybe your ability to enjoy and also have fun moments while you compete actually, instead of expending energy, it actually gives you energy. It rejuvenates you. It somehow is exhilarating. And so by putting the word successfully compete, here's my approach. And maybe this approach will benefit you. Successfully compete. That means, did you prepare? Before preparing, what was your appearance? Whatever it is that you're accomplishing, you become that, or you're being that character, whatever it may be, whatever your job is, your business is, your work is your workplace. So you probably have some kind of position or title. And of course, always keep in mind you're a person first, a human being, and an individual. And so is your appearance congruent with that? And then if it is, then you're successfully competing. Then next comes your preparation, your process, which is just your routines during while you're successfully competing. See, while you're competing, if you're thinking about winning or the outcomes or the results or doing better, then your ability to successfully compete towards that diminishes. Let's just look at it as a percentage. The more and more you think that way and feel that way, sort of weird, the percentages of you actually accomplishing that, receiving that, experiencing that actually decreases. Now, that doesn't mean that while you prepare, you don't talk about or think about or feel or design and then plan and then schedule and implement. What it does mean is that You've already done that ahead of time, and that's what your preparation is. Now, as you go about it, you'll have energy, and your energy will boost as you have success while you're doing whatever you're doing. And you compliment yourself with the word good or successful or yes, or show some kind of passion or celebration or skill, which is really what you're showing skill, and you're showing that you're enjoying, that you're having fun moments, or could be, depending upon who you are, that it's fun, it's enjoyable. So the percentages of you, when you approach it that way, of actually receiving the better outcomes, the better results, the winning is much greater. Now keep in mind, you're prepared and have put designed, planned, scheduled, implemented a way or how to win or experience winning. So that's successfully competing. And so while you're successfully competing, and it's one at a time, whatever it may be, one customer at a time, one task at a time, one person at a time, one colleague at a time, one individual at a time, one priority at a time. And obviously, there's times when you adapt and make adjustments. And so that's very, very important. And tomorrow, I will create an episode for performers and achievers from my book, Winning at Entrepreneurship, Common Sense Strategies for Business Owners, on strategy number 8, which is chapter number 8, compete for results. So you may be thinking, well, he just said compete for results. Why didn't he title it the strategy successfully compete for results? Because, and I'll talk about this more tomorrow, is that I identified the skill. What is the skill I identified? I identified a way for it to resonate with me so that it's best and a lot easier. So I identified the skill. So the skill was to put the word successful in front of it because it makes it the best and a lot easier. Then I learned the skill. I learned the skill. Then I practiced the skill. I practiced the skill. Because obviously, then you may be talking to someone and successfully compete. Usually they'll just say compete. I learned and practiced the skill to put successfully compete. It's just by preparing and actually submitting or applying yourself, or regardless of what happens, whether you even start the activity, the event, the process, etc., you receive success. You receive some type of reward. Now, of course, you wanted to complete the whole thing, and you also wanted to gain whatever those outcomes were, results were, and you wanted them to be the best or better results, outcomes. However, you practice the skill, and now what are you doing? You're sustainably, successfully competing. See, the issue sometimes, and that is a learning structure. The issue sometimes is we reward people. It's all or nothing. Winner takes all. That's a good way to go towards creating a larger gap, creating, let's say, even poverty, or creating the haves and have-nots, or creating some kind of control and power imbalance. And also, really, energy, endurance. It becomes more challenging to stay committed, right? Committed. However, by making practical breakthroughs and learning, like during this episode, you're able to then realize, hey, the way this is turning out is that that's not the right speech, the right view, and the right action. Anyone who entered should receive some type of reward or whatever it may be. Not only person who won or the group or the team who won the whole thing. And so, do you have this frame of mind, this approach, and what it is that you're doing? Here's another example. Let's say you're at the gym. You want to do 3 sets of 10 of some exercise. So you know there's 1 set of 10, 2 sets of 10, and then 3 sets, third set of 10. So that's a total of 30. So then you end up and you look at it and you lose the pizzazz from it, the novelty of it, the enjoyment and fun. It just seems like, okay, here's 3 sets of 10 of these again. Well, here's a way to approach that to make you successful, more successful. That gives you energy instead of expends energy, boosts your confidence. And those outcomes or results, they're the best and a lot easier. Instead of doing 3 sets of 10, which is 30, do 2 sets of 15. two sets of 15. You may think, maybe, and maybe it is for you. However, it works for me sometimes, many times. And let's say I'm doing 4 sets of some exercise. Well, then I can break that down to doing only 2 sets. I'm just doing more reps. And so what this does is that it makes your mind think and feel that it's being rewarded, that there's success occurring, that you're not just going through the motions until you start to feel it. And the reason is because you've created your appearance. You've looked at your preparation. There's lots of ways to prepare the process, your in competition, successful routines, right? And then your energy. How do you gain energy? It gives you energy. It boosts your confidence. And it's this freshness. It's this new approach that makes you successfully compete. Here's another example. I've had several people, and this is very common. You hear it from all types of people, and you also hear, usually, eventually, at one point or another, someone says that they pushed too hard, they went too hard, or so I was reading a book, and it was talking about how you can go much further, and you can successfully go much further when you're somewhat depleted. However, when you can do that is after you successfully nurtured, successfully developed, successfully build, so successfully grow and successfully evolve a specific skill that you've identified that you practiced, or practice means that you're implementing it. You're practicing it and implementing it. And then it becomes sustainable in the sense that it sustainably evolves, right? And so then you can successfully go much further. However, if you go in and let's say you have a new skill you learn, whether it's at your job, business, workplace, whatever it may be, or it could be playing sport or in the weight room or at the gym, whatever sport you like, soccer, basketball, tennis, table tennis, football, volleyball, swimming. You try to push yourself, right? And you become injured, or maybe. Sometimes you don't. It depends. However, when it's, here's the point, the successful point. Now I'm like adding the word successful in front of everything. You notice what I'm doing? Here's the point. The point, the salient learning point, or the practical breakthroughs in learning, which is the way that I like to say it, is by approaching it the way that I'm approaching it, instead of trying to do a whole bunch at once, because you did identify the skill, you did learn the skill, you did practice the skill, and you're implementing the skill. However, these are new circuits, new connections occurring in your mind, and therefore the infrastructure is not there to really support it, right? It's not there. Sort of like anything else. There's the infrastructure there. If you're making a meal, right? And I'm not really a chef. However, more and more I'm curious about different professions, and because I help and support people from all walks of life. So I can find my adaptability link, and there's let's say a base to this meal. There's a pattern to it. There's a tempo. There's a momentum in preparing it. Then there's the compound effect. And so it's very important for you to keep in mind that as you do this, to just let it successfully nurture. So let's say for 24 hours, you learned a new skill. And instead of doing like 30 or 20 or 15 or even 10, just did 5 of them. Did it 5 times. Sleep on it. Let your mind grab it. Let the mind create the circuits, the connections, the infrastructures, the highways, the freeways. And then the next day, you're in development. So you add a little more. And you stay there for as long as you'd like to stay there. Usually about 2 to 3 weeks, depending upon the skill. Then you go to building and you build it. You're there another, it depends, but let's just say another 3 to 4 weeks. Then you're in the grow or sustainably grow, and you're there for let's say another month. And then you're in the evolve. And then as you're doing that, what happens? You're there pretty much infinitely, and whatever it is that you learned, the skill that you identified, that you learned, you practiced, you implemented, well, you receive the compound effect. It becomes a part of your muscle memory. And when it does that, that means the infrastructure's there, everything is clear, everything's in place, and it's like you go into your car, you don't really think about too much or feel too much about putting the key in your ignition. That's sort of part of your muscle memory. However, as you're backing out, then you are looking and making sure that you're clear to proceed. And so here is another example. What do I do? Some people ask me, And it is that obviously I help and support my customers. Then, of course, I help people. And usually the people I help are performers and achievers. And when they become my customers, then I add the support. And I obviously respect and have manners, courtesy, civility towards an individual, a person. And so, from my point of view, my approach, I'm coaching, training, teaching them, right, holistically as a person, individual, someone's son or daughter, etc., mom or dad, or whatever it may be, friend, citizen, other extended family. And obviously, have that holistic approach. However, my approach is that they already have heart, soul, spirit, and body. Do you hear me? You already have that. Sure, you do. However, what I'm coaching, training, teaching is mind, their mind. And so that's very important. So remember, keep in mind, it's your mind that I'm training, coaching, or teaching. And of course, you're an individual, a person, a human being. You already have heart, soul, spirit, body. So that's important for you to keep in mind. And so as I train their mind or your mind, then you're succeeding and you're not, let's say, thinking or feeling or seeing or any other word you'd like, being too hard on yourself or too hard on someone else, talking about they don't have, or you or they don't have heart, soul, spirit, or body. No, you already have that. And you actually already have a mind. I'm training your mind. I train your mind. So when that happens, what happens? Well, the signals that go from your mind to all those areas that I just mentioned, heart, soul, spirit, body, they're the right signals. And because they're the right signals, the heart, soul, spirit, body sends back the right signals. There's coherence. And when that happens, that's when you experience what I call the zone flow, or the zone and the zone effect flow. Here's another example. Are you aware of your importance in being generous, having dignity, and having civility? Again, it's your mind. There's someone there who's seated, who's not able to walk, whose speech, ability to talk for some reason is difficult or challenging for them. Difficult, challenging. So do you look at this person and think, well, there's nothing you can do? Since you already have heart, soul, spirit, and body, and of course you already have a mind, so it's not one of those four that I previously mentioned. Your mind, do you have the wisdom in mind to slow down when you're talking to this person? To ask him to repeat something if it's not clear. To empathize. Naturally, as you do, you're being generous, benevolent, civil. And now your mind realizes that this is actually a very inspiring moment. It's skillfully motivating me. I wasn't able to understand a word he said. However, as I became curious and asked him to pronounce again many times, I was able to understand. And actually, he was able to actually pronounce the sentence to where I could understand clearly. And he was asking me after several attempts, and he was successful in each one. He was asking me, what is my name? What is my name? So he was successful each time. And then as I have trained my mind to be generous to people, not take advantage of them, right? Why would I want to do that? Nor would I let anyone take advantage of me. I won't let anyone take advantage of me, and I won't take advantage of them. And I haven't seen this person in years. I'd seen him before, so I knew his name. However, it was very amazing, spectacular, actually, inspiring, skillfully motivating. As I went through the day, and I sort of think of him and how he could pronounce the sentence so clearly. He was successfully competing. So each time he was successful. And that's what happens when you identify a new skill, you learn the skill, you practice, implement it, then you sustainably nurture, develop, build, grow, and evolve. It then becomes a part of your muscle memory eventually. And because the infrastructure, the highways, the circuits, all of that, all the connections to your heart, your soul, your spirit, your body are there. You light up, you resonate. The zone flows, the zone effect flows. You make practical breakthroughs in learning. And what happens? Well, there's another new skill to identify, right? Maybe you're working together with someone new. You're putting together an agreement, a good, sustainable business deal. So you're putting together the communication structure. How will that be handled? What happens if, just like in anything, there's a time to adapt and make adjustments? I mean, you're always doing this. A very clear example is driving your car. You can take the same route to your destination every day, for example. And what happens? What happens is that you adapt and make adjustments. Today there's a pothole. Today there are more cars. Today there's rain. Today it's sunny. I need to put the visor on, put my sunglasses on. Today it's cold outside. Today it's really hot outside. Today it's windy. Today it's gloomy. Right? So I apologize, and I'm aware as I'm shooting this, you may be hearing some noise and sounds in the background. So obviously that's something I apologize for. I have someone who walked in the room while I'm doing this, and obviously they think and feel that whatever it is that they're doing is more important, a higher priority than me shooting this video in silence. That happens sometimes. So I adapt and I adjust. If you like my podcast, like it and make a comment in the comment section. For those of you who are interested in my private, personal, professional, confidential services and programs with me, visit my website, rajgavurla.com, fill out the brief form, and we'll contact you as soon as we can. Enjoy your day and have fun.